Consciousness, the most intimate experience we have, and yet, the greatest mystery we face. Every thought, every emotion, every sensation is filtered through it. It is the lens through which reality reveals itself. But what exactly is it? A mere byproduct of neural complexity, or something deeper, perhaps even woven into the fabric of the universe itself? For centuries, we've tried to explain consciousness through material means. The brain fires neurons in patterns. Electrical impulses dance through synapses. Information integrates across billions of cells. From these interactions, our sense of self emerges, or so we think. But there's a problem. No matter how detailed our maps of the brain become, none of them explain how subjective experience arises. We can identify where pain registers, but not why it feels like anything at all. This is what philosophers call the hard problem of consciousness. It's the problem that refuses to go away, and for some, the solution may lie in the quantum realm. Quantum mechanics describes the strange, subatomic world where particles exist in superpositions, where observation collapses probabilities into outcomes, and where reality itself seems tied to measurement. It's a realm so bizarre that even Einstein called it spooky. But what if the enigma of consciousness and the strangeness of the quantum world are two sides of the same mystery? Some scientists and philosophers propose a radical thought that consciousness is not produced by the brain, but interacts with it through quantum processes. According to this view, the brain isn't just a biological computer, it's a quantum processor, harnessing the unpredictable nature of the subatomic world to give rise to awareness itself. At first, this sounds far-fetched. Neurons are warm, wet, and noisy, hardly the conditions for fragile quantum states that collapse quickly under heat and interference. But research into quantum biology has already shown that some living systems do exploit quantum effects. Photosynthesis in plants, navigation in migrating birds, even the human sense of smell may rely on quantum tunneling. If nature can harness quantum coherence elsewhere, why not the brain? One of the most intriguing theories linking quantum mechanics to consciousness comes from physicist Roger Penrose and anesthesiologist Stuart Hameroff. Their hypothesis, called orchestrated objective reduction, or orchestrated OR, suggests that quantum computations happen inside the microtubules of neurons. These microscopic structures, once thought to merely support the cell's architecture, might actually process information at a quantum level. Penrose and Hameroff believe that the collapse of quantum states within these microtubules corresponds to moments of conscious awareness, tiny flashes of experience that form the press experience. Flow of the mind. In simpler terms, consciousness could arise when quantum possibilities collapse into definite realities within the brain itself, each collapse producing a moment of now. It's an elegant idea that ties the unpredictability of the quantum world directly to the stream of inner experience. Yet many neuroscientists remain skeptical. They argue that quantum coherence in the brain would decohere almost instantly, far too quickly to influence neural activity. Others counter that biological systems might have evolved mechanisms to protect coherence longer than we expect, similar to how photosynthetic complexes maintain it at room temperature. The debate continues, somewhere between experimental uncertainty and metaphysical wonder. Beyond neuroscience, the connection between quantum physics and consciousness touches something deeper than the nature of reality itself. Quantum experiments have repeatedly shown that observation alters outcomes. A particle behaves differently when measured. Its wave function collapses as if acknowledging awareness. This raises an unsettling question. If observation shapes reality, what counts as an observer? Could consciousness be fundamental to the universe, not a late byproduct of evolution? The famous double-slit experiment illustrates this beautifully. When electrons are not observed, they form an interference pattern as though each passes through both slits simultaneously, existing in multiple possibilities. But when observed, they choose one path. It's as if the universe waits for awareness to decide how reality should unfold. Does this mean consciousness creates the world it experiences, or merely participates in it? Some interpretations of quantum mechanics, like the participatory universe proposed by physicist John Wheeler, suggest that consciousness and the cosmos co-create reality through continuous observation. In Wheeler's words, we live in a self-excited circuit. The universe gives rise to observers who, by observing, bring the universe into being. Still, others push this idea further. Panpsychism, the notion that consciousness is a fundamental feature of the universe rather than something that emerges from complexity, has re-entered serious discussion. According to this view, every particle, every field, every quantum fluctuation has some primitive form of awareness. The human mind would then be not a creator of consciousness, but a concentrator of it, a focal point in an already conscious cosmos. Consciousness wouldn't need to arise from matter because it never left. Matter and mind are two expressions of the same underlying reality. This perspective aligns curiously with ancient philosophies. In Vedanta, consciousness is the fundamental ground of being Brahman, from which all phenomena emerge. In Taoism, the unnameable Tao gives rise to both matter and awareness. Even Plato hinted that pure consciousness underlies the material forms we perceive. Perhaps, modern physics and timeless philosophy are beginning to meet in the same place. Yet, if consciousness is quantum, what does that mean for how we live and perceive the world? If awareness is bound to probabilities, then thoughts themselves could ripple through potential realities. Every choice might collapse a different future. Sentience might not simply observe reality, it might participate in shaping it at the deepest level. This could explain why intention and attention wield such invisible power. In quantum terms, focused awareness might be akin to precise measurement. It defines the outcome it observes. Meditation, visualization, even creative inspiration might all be forms of conscious measurement tuning into the probability field of the mind to influence how reality unfolds. But again, such interpretations tread a fine line between science and mysticism. Empirical proof remains elusive. Critics argue that invoking quantum mechanics to explain consciousness risks turning it into a quantum mysticism, more poetic than precise. And yet, every attempt to reduce consciousness to pure computation has fallen short. We're still left with that haunting question: how does matter awaken to itself? Consider what consciousness might be if not quantum. Could it simply be classical, an emergent property of neural complexity, like heat emerging from random molecular motion? In that case, even highly advanced machines could someday replicate it. But if awareness depends on the probabilistic nature of quantum collapse, if it draws upon reality's indeterminacy, then consciousness might be unique to systems that participate directly in those quantum processes. In that case, artificial intelligence, however advanced, could simulate behavior but never experience being. That distinction matters. A simulation can mimic the sound of rain but can never feel water. Likewise, even a sentient-seeming AI might not truly wake up unless the laws of physics themselves allow consciousness as a fundamental quality of the universe. Ultimately, the search for whether consciousness is quantum isn't only scientific, it's existential. It forces us to confront what it means to be aware, to exist, and to participate in reality. The more we learn, the more the question turns inward. Where does observation end and being begin? Perhaps consciousness and the quantum world mirror each other because they both defy certainty. Both exist in tension between potential and actuality, between wave and particle, between dream and definition. Both remind us that the universe is far stranger and far more intimate than our models can capture. Maybe that's the lesson itself, that consciousness isn't something to be solved but understood as part of the same mystery that gives rise to stars, atoms, and space itself. The question, is consciousness a quantum phenomenon, might have less to do with physics and more to do with perspective. Because the closer we look, the more it seems that consciousness and reality are reflections in the same cosmic mirror, each collapsing into meaning only when observed by the other. So perhaps the real truth lies not in choosing between matter or mind, science or spirit, but in realizing that they were never separate to begin with.